Elevation Nation. The best part about having a podcast is we just continually get to meet amazing humans. And even more fun than amazing humans are humans that you feel like you've known for forever. I think weirdly enough, within the first 5 minutes of all of us chatting, we just vibed. They are also two friends, entrepreneurs who had corporate lives, who changed those lives, and now are transforming our lives as our appointed, unofficially PR team that we were eventually going to work with. And now I'm scheming them to officially be our PR team. But we have two amazing co-founders and human beings on the podcast tonight. We have Lydia and Bridget from Visibility on Purpose, an amazing company that we're going to talk all about. But I think the main thing, Elevation Nation, if you want to hint at what we're going to get out tonight, it's going to be a little bit about your own brand and how you can enhance that brand, whether that's a company, whether that's your personal brand, and how to use PR to elevate your mindset as well. So, Lydia, Bridget, welcome to Elevation Nation, friends. We are so excited to have you on the pod.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here. We always joke around, always since we've known each other for, all of a few months, that we are the female version of you guys. So,
whoa. I think you said that on when we came on your podcast.
We did.
Lydia and Bridget, I will have to say it has been a long bit of time since Sam and I have recorded an episode with a guest. We took in a little hiatus as I got married, and we haven't recorded an episode
Priorities,
in a month.
Come on.
So I'm not saying we are, ready to bring the heat and the energy today, but we are. We really are. We've been missing this a ton. And I know you guys have listened, hopefully, to a few episodes of Elevation Nation. Since episode 1, we have started every episode with our new elevators, by our new elevators giving us an elevator pitch about themselves. So, Lydia, we'll start with you. Let's hear your elevator pitch. It is Elevation Nation.
About myself?
About yourself.
Okay. I am a publicist and media educator. I run an agency, also Visibility on Purpose with Bridget. And what I really enjoy doing is helping amazing brands get themselves bigger exposure and that's through the media. So podcasts, editorial, TV, and radio. Yeah. Is that good enough?
That was elevated.
Amazing.
It was a great elevator. Good
Thanks.
building. Good building size too. All right, Bridget, let's hear it.
Wait, it's so funny that you guys do this because I have listened to episodes, but I was like, oh, I'll do an elevator pitch for the company, not for just Bridget. I didn't think about that.
That's why I was like, oh, okay.
This is good. Here's what I'd say about me. I am that person who tries and learns everything so you don't have to. I've done the weirdest things throughout my career and life. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a holistic health coach. I've had numerous businesses, from publishing, helping business owners speak on camera like this, to now hosting a visibility and publicity company. And I just became a real estate agent. So I just like to dip my toes into everything because, I don't know, we're not on this planet forever. So I'd rather just try it all and figure it out along the way.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. It's incredible. Just figuring it out along the way. I know Sam was going to jump in, but I want to give you guys the opportunity. Elevator pitch for Visibility on Purpose. Who wants it? Should we flip a coin here?
Flip
Sam
it.
knows
I'll do
something
it.
about flipping coins. All right, Bridget, you got it.
This is how we see it. There are businesses out there that are small businesses where these business owners are doing some incredible things, but not enough people know about it, right? We don't have the huge ad budgets. We're not Coca-Cola. We're not Macy's. I don't know. We're not Target. We're just small business owners trying to bring cool things into the world. So where Lydia and I come in is we teach business owners how to get their business more visible through media, through podcasts, through really just sharing their message. And that's what's true to them, and that can get them featured. And you don't need to be a celebrity. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to necessarily hire an agency, although if you want to, you can go to Lydia. We help cool business owners who are doing cool things be known.
Great pitch. I'm glad you practiced that one. We were ready for it. I think what's so cool about what you all are doing is Parker and I, again, are your target demo. We have a small company that we are trying to figure out how to get more notoriety behind what we're doing. and it's been a slow grind. And so we are excited to work with you both and learn from you both as we continue to elevate our company and our brand. Speaking of brands, I want to talk about brands for a second, because a lot of Elevation Nation, a lot of our listeners are young adults, whether they're in high school, college, recent graduates. And so the concept of brand, they probably think, what you just said, Bridget, of Target and some of these larger companies. But I think there's something that maybe they hear about but don't truly believe, which is this concept of your personal brand and being able to use press and publicity and you just networking and your notoriety to build your own personal brand. So when you hear the word brand, how do you guys describe that, and why is it so important for both professional level and on a personal level for you individually?
So when I think about a company in general, there are businesses and then there are brands. Now, Joe Schmo on the street, not Joe Schmo, because I'm going to use an example of like a pizza place. I'm from New Jersey. So we've got a pizza place, right? They might do a lot of business in town, but they don't have a huge brand. They just have the local brick and mortar. That's what they're doing. And that's probably what they want to do. But brand is more having a bigger vision of a presence. So if you, like, let's say that he decided, this business owner, that he wanted to actually build a brand, then we're looking at Domino's. Domino's has a brand. So even though they are doing like brick and mortar type style things, they have logos. Everybody knows about it. They're everywhere. They have a story out there, I'm sure. They have press. So when we're thinking about a brand, it's really building your brand awareness, building your recognition, but also being a business that has a message and you're sharing that through different mediums and platforms. Does that answer your question?
It's a great differentiator. I think I want to tie it back to the personal side of brands,
Sure.
Just because I think for this first little bit, I want to talk about how important a personal brand is. And I think to your point with that definition of brand, you can be well known as a person in your school, in your clubs, in your community, and that's awesome. But to become a brand, you need to start to figure out how to step outside those people that already know you so well. And I think that's something that many young folks maybe aren't as comfortable doing. I think back to my high school days, right? My basketball teammates all knew me. The clubs that I helped run all knew me. That's great. But then I got into college and a big, big school. And I was like, how do I make sure that people know me beyond the folks I actually physically meet? And so there were many ways I tried to do that, but I don't think that concept really hit home for me until I then became a business professional and realized no one's going to hand me a job. No one's going to make sure that I'm out there networking. No one's going to be a voice on LinkedIn unless I start to write stuff myself. And so I want to hit home that concept to a lot of these young adults that it's okay to start as just a person. Nothing wrong with that. We're all people at the end of the day. But as you start to think a little bit bigger, there's nothing wrong with trying to become your own brand.
I think it's a lot about mental association too. It's like, what do I, we ask our clients a lot, what do you want to be known for? And for me, it's about, okay, when someone thinks of your company, what are some of those words that they associate? What are some of the feelings? It's all about association. And big companies usually do this well. And we like to give that example of like Patagonia. It's like, okay, this is for like the adventurous, outdoorsy person who's going to be like climbing the mountains in Chile. That's what they've done through that brand. And where I think we can take that on a personal level is we can ask ourselves, what do we want to be known for? Who do we want to be associated with? And that comes with like our network and maybe the brands that we collaborate with. And how can we bring more of ourself into how we position ourselves externally? Because with social media, with technology, we have this ability to share more of ourselves. And as tech grows and grows and grows and we become more automated, it's actually the human that I think is going to like win the game. So personal brands, I think, have never been hotter, and pretty cool time for that.
I would also just love to add, speaking from like the student perspective, it's funny. I recently was on the hunt for interns, and we have gotten some interns. And so I think a lot of students are starting to understand, I think with like social media and everything, that you need to kind of be a brand, and to whether you're looking to create your own business or you're looking to get into a company, it would behoove you to like stand out and create your own brand and presence. So I've seen a lot of kids, what's really stood out to me is even having like a personal blog or a website where they're sharing like who they are, like Bridget was saying, their values, what interests them, and what they've done. So it's kind of like a digital resume in a sense. And even thinking about your own like Instagram, how can we make that so it's a little bit more maybe professional, or we're kind of brand positioning ourselves to receive what we want. So for example, like I'll use your example about LinkedIn. So say I want to get into a company that specializes in marketing, or maybe I want to create my own. What we could do as personal brands or as kids or Gen Z is we can start writing about marketing trends. And that could be a great way in. So I think from lots of different perspectives, personal brand is really allowing ourselves to share our values in a way that makes sense for whatever, pursuit we're going for in business.
I think the future of business is going to be all around, to your point, how people are tied to the people behind brands, right? And we see it, to your point, Lydia, and like TikTok, social media. We see people, we're tied and attached to people. That's the reason why athletes get paid all this money, or celebrities get paid all this money for endorsement deals, because people know these people, they feel attached to them. And even more than ever, celebrities are opening up their own world, or influencers are opening up their own world through not even short-term content. It's transitioning to long-form content now. People want to see their everyday, and if there's associated with a brand, it's like, wow, they're wearing Nike. Great. They're always wearing Nike. I want to feel like them. I want to be like them. So I'm going to wear Nike too. And I think it's a really, really great point. And to Sam and my, I don't like to give us credit all the time, but when we started Elevation Nation, we were like, we want to start Elevation Nation so that we can grow our brand. And the way that we do it is we meet a lot of really cool people, and we want to make our brand around elevating and helping people understand the concept of mental fortitude. And so it's funny, at my wedding, Sam gave a speech as the best man, and people are coming up asking about Elevation Nation, asking about mental fortitude, and that is what they associate now Sam and I as. And it's very simple because we're always talking about it.
I am obsessed that you used your wedding as like a low-key business plug.
I can't tell you how many people in all the speeches that were given. There might have been 15 speeches given throughout the whole weekend. Elevation Nation got so much free press, so much free marketing, just because when they think about Sam and myself now, it's mental fortitude. It's mental fortitude, over and over and over. And that goes with a lot of reiteration and reinforcement of it.
Yeah, I think you guys are so good at being a walking representation of your brand. I mean, we said this in our podcast episode, which everybody can go listen to, but that's exactly what you guys are doing it. You guys are really doing it. So whoever is listening today, like if I don't drive the point home or Bridget doesn't, just go look at what these guys are doing. They've gotten it down.
Well, thank you. And Parker's exactly right. I made a joke in the speech at his wedding that we unofficially sponsored the wedding, and that's why we got so much free press. So thank God we didn't actually financially do that, but we certainly got a lot of PR, and it's because, I'm sure people mentioned it in their speeches, a little bit poking fun at us because we're obviously obsessed with what we're building. Yeah. But I'm laughing all the way to the bank because we've now hit that point home so much that it's tied to our personal brands. And what a cool concept to be tied to Sam and Parker, this theory of elevating and mental fortitude. Like, I'll take that every single day. So brands come in many different shapes and sizes. I'll do a quick anecdote, a quick story about how I tried to develop my personal brand in college. I actually wrote a LinkedIn post about this the other day. Back when I was in school, kids weren't as maybe ambitious in building their personal brands. There wasn't TikTok. There weren't all these big influencers. You were just a student at school, and you had a resume, and you wore an oversized suit when you went to the career fair that didn't really fit you. That was a hand-me-down, right? Like, yep. Everyone kind of was in the same boat. And I remember thinking, what is a way that I can stand out? because everyone's got great GPAs, everyone's taking all the same classes. How do I stand out? So I went on Vistaprint, which I don't even know if they still exist. I think they might. And I made my own business card, and I put on there the University of Maryland flag and the city of Chicago flag, and I combined them into one ugly ass square. So it was half of each flag. And I put on a tagline for myself that said, "A critical thinker dedicated to a better tomorrow." What the fuck does that even mean? I have no idea.
He was like
But I put
18
it on
years
there.
old. I think the first time he
And I
met
used
me,
to
he
take it out
handed
of
me
my
one of those.
pocket and hand it to people. Yeah, I don't know how Parker's still friends with
No,
me.
I literally think the first day we met at my apartment when we were 18 years old, you
Oh
came up
my
to me and you
God.
handed me one of your business cards. Like, dude, what are you doing?
Respect.
Yeah,
Like,
you
who
gotta do
are
what you
you?
gotta do.
Who are you, dude?
And people are doing different things like that now. So I'm not saying you have to create a business card, but people are starting their own TikToks and trying to be influencers. And it's cool if you don't become an influencer as a full-time job, but if you are influencing and showing us your journey of how you are applying to different internships every single day. Or I don't know if you guys have heard the story about someone really wanted their resume to stand out, so they dressed as a delivery guy, went to the office of who was hiring them, and put his resume inside a cake and delivered it to the person. And I'm not saying do
epic.
anything crazy like that,
Epic.
but it is pretty epic. I saw one that was really cool. A young woman wanted to work at Spotify, and she was a designer on the design team. So she took what looked like her Spotify web page with all of her top songs and her profile, and she turned it into a resume. So all the songs read as her resume. Like, be
Wow.
creative, be genius, build your
Incredible.
brand. You can find ways to stand out.
Ooh, this actually, I would love to share a story of looking at a recent resume who is now an intern. And this, I think I've seen before. I'm a publicist, so I scour the internet. I like stalk everybody. If you're gonna submit a application to me, like, you bet I'm gonna Google you. And this one, I've seen this a lot where I think like kids will do, I keep saying kids, like I'm 900 years old. Anyways, Gen Zs will do amazing things. Like they'll have a TikTok account where they're trying to be an influencer or like a creator. And even if they don't have a bajillion followers, they're still doing something that I would find impressive. Or maybe they have like a business that they've started or something like that. And what I've seen is I will see this or find this on the internet, but they won't put it on their resume. And to me, that's actually valuable because I think, like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're a self-starter. Oh, they have an entrepreneurial spirit. Oh, there's somebody that's good at problem solving. Whereas I think, like, you know, people get nervous and it's vulnerable to show things that they like or their values. And so I would encourage any student or anybody looking to, you know, position themselves in any way to share your values. Because at the end of the day, I think that authenticity has been a huge shift in our society and marketing and trending. Everyone just can see through the smoke and mirrors. And so authenticity is going to really, really help.
And that comes back to like values and being, I don't know, kind of just being you, because I think we're over the days where like a resume is going to be like, okay, I, called 200 business owners per day. Like that's boring. I don't know. I think that companies are even trying to see beyond that because we really want the person, like what makes that person more interesting. So if we can lean on values, authenticity, like all of these pieces, not only to get a job, but also in our businesses, I think those are the businesses that are going to start to really thrive because we're craving this human connection, which we're starting to lose through technology.
So good, Bridget.
I want to bring that up then. Let's talk about human connection for a little bit because I think it's a debate. Most people look at technology and they're like, this hurts human connection, but yet Mark Zuckerberg, when he created Facebook, was like, this is going to bring more people together. I feel more connected to people that I shouldn't be connected to, right? Because of social media, but yet not connected to them because we're not physically together ever.
Yeah. I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because obviously we wouldn't know you guys if we didn't have technology. And I think it's about seeing it as neutral and using it to our advantage, but also remembering that I don't know, I think I think as humans, we're meant to be social creatures. And I do think that there's power in like human proximity in person too. Like I'm sure you felt that at your wedding even. It's like, oh, you got to see these people, you got to dance with them, you got to see their mannerisms, their body language. I don't know how tall they are. Like I don't even know how tall you guys are, right? Because we don't have these things through the internet, and there's pros and cons of both. So
Sam's 6'5", by the way.
Are you?
Sam's 6'5".
Wait, I thought Bridget was, I don't know why, I thought she was smaller than me. I think because she's like, Bridget's like small framed, but let me tell you, that girl's got legs for days. We stood next to each other and I was like, how tall are you? What?
We're just in
But it's
tiny little
funny.
boxes.
It's just funny when you meet somebody for the first time and you're like, oh my God, you're tall, you're short, I can hug you. And yeah, just to add to Bridget's point, I love what she said about seeing it as a neutral point and using it in a way that works for us, because yes, like it can be so easy to fall into the trap of online, and you get to like have access to all these people and you're building, but then you get to a point where, and I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs go through this. I mean, I went through this where I was like, I'm going to network with everybody. And then I was like, wait, who's actually in my circle? Who's going to be referring me business? Who's going to be shouting my name from the rooftops? Because I want to do that for people. And so what we've been doing at Visibility on Purpose, actually, Sam came to the last one, is we've been hosting networking events like just for our podcast host. Whoever we invite on, we think so highly of them. And we truly are very selective in who we bring on. And so we were thinking like, what can add value to that? Like how can we thank them for being on our show? So we've been doing networking events where we've been doing like breakout rooms, allowing people to really connect and talk. So that's what we've been doing on the internet, but we've been also trying to like do more things in person. We have an event coming up, which we were trying to get Parker to come to.
Sorry, gonna be a bit outbound for that, but I love what you guys are doing with that. I think it's an incredible way to build connection. I had this like, back on the topic of the conversation, I had this like thought over the weekend thinking about, there's so many people working remote, and there are some times where I don't want to go on camera and the rest of my team doesn't go on camera. And I had this thought over the weekend. I'm like, it basically is like me like sitting at my desk, right? I'm working and my physical reality is everything here. And like, if we're trying to do something, it's just like me talking and they can hear Parker's voice and that's it. And it was like this weird thought that is like almost dystopian in a sense that like we're doing work, but it's just my voice talking, and like I could be anywhere in the world. And I was like, whoa, you know what? I'm coming on camera a lot more now because I don't want to be that person that just is the voice. Like, that's so bizarre. I want to be, at least if I'm not with you physically, you can see my presence, see who I am. You could see my books and what I'm about. And, when you guys walk away, although I'm not 6'5", I could have told you that, but you would at least remember me as the guy with the color-coded bookshelf.
I really appreciate that,
you
actually.
See that?
Literally same. When we got on, I was like, wow, how gorgeous the background.
It's the little things, right? The little things.
Little things.
I'm so curious on Sam's point of view on human connection.
Well, Parker brought up a point about wanting to be more visible, and it was a perfect transition for me, but I'll wait on that. It's funny. Today, I was talking to a friend who goes into the office all the time, and I went outside my apartment because I work from home as well, and walked around, took a quick walk during lunchtime, during the day. And I was like, DC's popping. It's nice out. People are going out to lunch. People are walking to the office. And I kind of just get into these weird mindsets where I forget all my team is in New York. I see them when I travel for work. I travel a fair amount. But for the most part, I have the luxury or the shame of having to just sit in this little box and hang out. And I try, to Parker's point, to not just be a voice, but to be a face. I think it's difficult. There are certainly pros and cons. I crave that human connection, and I'm very grateful that I have this outlet for me to meet new people, because I think that's keeping me relatively sane. But if this ever ended, I think I would be in trouble. I'm too social of a person. So that's my take. pros and cons. I think we're all trying to navigate this. But to my earlier point and to Parker's point, he brought up this concept of visibility and wanting to be seen, not just his voice, but his face on screen. And I think that's a perfect transition into this concept of visibility. So when you both think of the word visible, you obviously named your company about it. What does the word visible mean to you both? We'll start with that, and then I'm going to get deeper.
Yeah. I think visibility holds a lot of weight where it could mean a lot of things for a lot of different people. And I think it kind of goes back to media in general. It's funny, every time we ask any client that comes in, we ask them, number one, what is your goal? And everybody has something different, which is so beautiful because visibility does mean something totally different to all of them. So like some of them will say, I want to be on TV. I want to be everywhere. I want to be on talk shows. I want to have a book. Whereas other ones are like, oh, I just really want to be quoted in a few articles and like be able to have those logos. And others are seeing themselves as more of like a social presence, and they're kind of using their press to help them. I don't know if you guys know this, but in order to, there's other ways to get verified on Instagram. You can pay for it now. Celebrities get it way easier. But if you are going to submit the application to get verified, one of those questions is press. So there's a lot of different ways. I don't know if I'm answering the question right, but basically visibility, I think, is very fluid to each individual person.
Yeah, I think it's all about this human need of wanting to be seen, and it just comes out for us in the form of, business and letting the business be seen. But we all do just have this true desire. We want to be seen, honored, respected, heard. So I think it also ties into just some of those things. And we can also utilize, the avenues of media or business or whatever it is, to share that message.
And I'll add my element of this too is Sam's heard this many times, and I think we've brought this up with our good friend Alana Dunn before and Carly Silverman, and I say I think everyone should have a podcast, and not is going to be a way for you to make money, but because everyone has a voice, everyone has a message to share. It's a very, very low barrier of entry. And regardless if one person or a million people listen to it, you are putting your ideas, your thoughts, your perspectives into the world. And if someone wants to hear what Sam Panitch has to say, they can go and listen. Talk about a resume. Okay, Sam's resume comes across the desk. I see
my kids in 20 years.
Podcast host is like, oh, wait. I want to learn more about Sam Panitch. I can go listen to his podcast. Great. Yeah. On how he thinks about visibility and what, his conversation with Lydia and Bridget. And so I think everyone has unique message to share, regardless if they think it or not. And I think a podcast is a really easy way to just speak your mind and speak your thoughts into the world. And so that's what I love about podcasting in a sense.
It's funny. This has nothing to do with anything, but I'm going to share it anyway. My boyfriend's stepdad is like the most interesting man alive. He has an engineering background. He also has a therapy background. He's lived in Mexico. He was a farmer for a pig farmer, like just the craziest shit you could think of. And I always joke around that I want to interview him because I really want to hear his story. And to your point, Parker, I love that. I think everyone should have a podcast because we all do have something interesting to share. And Bridget and I get the luxury of hearing all of our clients that have gone through Pitch Party share their stories. And it's like, it has brought us to tears before because they really want to, at the end of the day, I think most businesses start a business because they want to impact somebody in some way and they have a message to share to do better in the world. Most businesses. And so I love that you just said that. And I think visibility, really it's for us, but it's also for others to make different decisions when they're moving forward or get impacted.
You know, it's been a hard lesson that I've had to learn around this, though, because I agree with you, Parker. Like, I think everyone has a podcast. I think we all have a story to share that can impact someone in some way, shape, or form. But what I've learned is, like, not everyone wants to. Not everyone, like, and whether we say it's like this is their soul's path right now and they're just like, that's not what they're ready for. Because I'm the person who, like, sees the beauty in everyone. And I'm like, come on, like, that would be so amazing if you shared this with someone. But they don't want to. And I've had that reflected to me in life by family members who are, like, not interested. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, there is the other side of that coin.
100%. I'm not saying it's right for everyone. I just think everyone should.
Agree.
Imagine all the ideas and things that we put into the world, all the things that ChatGPT could just learn more on if people just start speaking more into the world. Oh, my God. Everything would be so much better and smarter. But maybe we're helping one little conversation after another to get more podcasts happen.
Yeah.
So I want to move us to our next segment here, which are questions and scenarios that came in from Elevation Nation listeners all across the country. So I'm going to summarize this first one, so bear with me. But they are a sophomore in college at a business school, and they hear this concept of personal brand all the time. And they're trying to figure out how they can solidify theirs because they don't even know what career they want to go in, let alone who they are and what their brand is. So how would you recommend they go about building this concept of a personal brand when they aren't even sure necessarily that they know what they want or who they are?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to dive in.
Go.
So I created a course, Find Your Irresistible, because I was personally going through this. Like, how long did I do this? Like 2 years ago? I don't know. This was for my business, but I think that this will make sense for this kid asking. It's getting clear on your values, no matter what you're looking to go into. I think sometimes when we think about career, it feels so heavy. Like you were told when you were in middle school, like, okay, you need to know what you want to do when you graduate high school, so you better start thinking about it now. And then there's all these classes now in high school. I mean, when I was in high school, there was only like marketing as an extracurricular, but I'm hearing all these kids have all these other options now just in high school, not even in college. And then when you get there, you're like, I don't even know what's happening right now. Like, I'm just so confused. And so getting clear on your values, I think really helps. And what I mean by that is like, do you really like community? Do you like nature? Do you like this? Do you like that? Like, what is important to you? Ask yourself some questions. I think Bridget will probably be good at this. I feel like she's good at coming up with questions, but coming down to what these value points are for yourself and then going from there. Because when it comes to business, I truly think like nothing is a perfect fit. Like, you know, I like PR because I like connecting people. I don't necessarily love PR. Like I'm not like, ooh, PR, yes, like marketing, yes. But I love that I get to talk to a bunch of people. I love that I get to, you know, get them a full feature on Forbes and like see how excited they are when they get that. And that's like my why. So coming back to values and your why, and then moving in that direction, start sharing who you are to create this personal brand. And I think that'll also help make decisions for career choices moving forward.
You know, it's such a good exercise. I don't know if you guys know this. It's the Japanese concept called ikigai.
Oh.
And it's like the reason for life or the meaning for life. And it has these like 4 different categories, you know, what you love, what the world needs more of, what you can get paid for, and like what you're naturally good at. And I think that those kind of encapsulate the questions that we should be asking ourselves, because a lot of times those answers are already there. Like, I've naturally been a speaker my entire life. I loved public speaking as a kid. I loved bringing people together. Like, those have just been natural qualities. And I think that when we think of careers, sometimes we don't even reflect on like what has been true to us and things that have been there since we have been kids. You know, that's when we are uninhibited by like the world and society and what people think. So I don't know, I'd go back to like who you were when you were young, and I would do that exercise. It sounds like you guys know it too. You have done it.
Sam's nodding his head. I want to look it up deeper. Maybe we've done it back in the day, Sam.
I just saw a post on Ikigai actually today. So
did you? That's so crazy.
It was like a tree trunk or a rope, like all coming together. It was cool. I love that. Right. Thank you both for those answers. I appreciate it.
I got another scenario I'm reading. There's 2 friends of ours who They have this company they've been running for the last 4 years. They've done 300 plus episodes of their podcast, and they're beginning to really catch some steam, like really elevating is what they mentioned us.
It just
that they were
clicked.
doing.
Free consulting right now,
Just
Parker.
clicked.
And
I'm like, that's them.
like they're really starting to do and bring their vision to life all these years later. They want to do more speaking gigs. They want to meet cooler people. They want to bring more elevated guests into their world. And they're curious. What advice do you have for them?
I have ideas, Lydia. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You go first. I have ideas too.
Okay. So around the better quality guests, this is something that I had done when I had my own show and Lydia and I have done. You pitch the guests. Like you basically put together why this show is the shit. You know, how many episodes, what types of people you've had, what are some of their credentials, and you're going to ask them onto the show, which is like how we've gotten some people on the show. So I think it's about just going out there and first kind of packaging your genius, which is everything that you do as a brand when you're introducing yourself to whether it's the media or others. So I would definitely do that. And then as far as continuing to grow this, I would definitely look into brand sponsorships and really thinking about ways that you can monetize this. Whether you're working with other companies, whether you're doing, you know, you're bringing Athletic Greens, we can use them as an example. They did a really good job at this. You're showcasing their product and getting paid for, you know, bringing this to the world. But I would start pitching yourselves to speaking because you guys have already done it. You leverage everything you've done, leverage all the podcasts, and just like put yourself out there.
Okay. I'm coming in hot. Okay. So what I'm thinking is exactly what Bridget said. It's so funny because when we started our own show, we were like just selecting people in our network, whatever. And then I was like, wait, I'm a publicist. I've done this before. Like, what are we doing? So we did the same thing. We pitched guests that we want to be on, and now we're very selective, really thinking about what our audience members want to hear and who are the best guests to bring that information forward. You guys have had incredible, I'm sorry, we're just like, it's Elevation Nation we're talking about. You guys have had some incredible guests.
We are? I thought it was Nation Elevation. That's
Some
what
randos.
It was
that's what
Nation
they called it.
Elevation. I looked at your directory and I was blown the F away at the different brands. I also listened to the show and I was like, when we first got acquainted with you guys, I was sending random people to Bridget and random show episodes. And I was like,
She's like, look at these people.
Yep. I was like, look at this one. Look at this one. Like, you guys have had really impressive people on. And so pitching who you want on and then saying you'd be in great company. Here's some of the guests below, and just like sharing the guests. And a lot of the times you need to think about like the person on the other end. So if they don't know who they are or why they're cool, you tell them why they're cool. So like, for example, we had an ex-Netflix star on our show. So and she doesn't do that anymore, but I think it's really impressive that she was on a Netflix series, which is funny because I watched it and then was like, oh my God, I saw you on that. And so you bet we're going to write ex-Netflix star blank, you know? And so it's all about positioning. And then for you guys getting more downloads and whatnot, get yourselves on other shows. I think it's more about people would fall in love with you guys. I mean, I'm sure you guys hear this all the time, but like when you go in front of a bunch of students, do they not like literally fall in love with you? And they're like, these people have changed my life. Like they have made me see in such a different perspective. And so sometimes I think we think about how we can help others so much, we forget how to help ourselves. And so when we're bringing people on, we're giving them a platform, but it also makes sense for us to go on others because at the end of the day, you are helping them build their network, but you're also being able to spread your message and bring them back to your show. So that's my piece.
Mic drop.
Thank you both for that advice.
I have to let
pass it along, Parker.
I'll pass it to the friends that really were really asking to get their question on this episode.
Yes, the friends.
Had to put it out
Thanks,
there.
friends.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you both. That was incredible. On to our next segment, our rapid fire segment. So we have a couple quick questions. We're going to go one at a time, and we'll do different questions for each of you just to keep it flowing. So, Bridget, we'll start with you. Is all publicity good publicity?
That's
Maybe
a
I
good
should have
one.
asked Lydia this, but I
Maybe
kind
we
of
should
want your
ask Lydia this
opinion
one.
too.
Is all publicity good publicity? I don't know. You then need to have a really good publicist if shit hits the fan, so that
There
they
you
can
go.
like
Good
fix things
answer.
for you. Because sometimes I feel like, I don't know, could be rough. But your
Lydia,
brand
I'll
will
let
be
you
out
answer as well. I know this is. Thank you, Bridget.
Really, it's about. I feel like this is all I say. It's about your goals. Well, when I think about this, when people think about PR, I think a lot of the times they think about like scandalous stuff that's happening on the internet with celebrities. Like, I was at a coffee shop the other day and some guy came up to me. He saw that I was like on my computer. He's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a publicist." And he went on this like tangent. "Oh, I heard about this yoga studio that, was doing really bad stuff and blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Wait a second. This is not what I do. I don't do like damage control. Like, what is happening here?" And so what I think at the end of the day, the best type of press that you can get for yourself is just sharing who you are and your authenticity. And if you have good intention, you will never get or shouldn't get bad press. And that should be the goal.
Also, some people love drama and chaos. So like maybe they wanted that. I don't know.
Right. Like for goals for like, I don't know, MTV, that might be perfect for them. So.
Right. If you're going on those reality TV shows and then you're like in all the tabloids, maybe they wanted that.
Yeah.
Bravo
No.
TV thrives.
I love it. Okay, next question. What's like a brand that you just think of that just does it so well that you guys emulate your vision and inspiration off of?
I have an option.
Okay, good, because my mind's blanking.
So there's this show, Almost 30. I think a lot of people know it in the in the wellness and health space and lifestyle space. It can get a little woo from time to time, but I think that they just do a great job of being authentic and sharing who they are. And they have built such a community from their podcast. It's really inspiring, actually. You guys should look at them in terms of like podcasts, but they have built such a community in their podcast that they eventually released retreats and they released courses and all of these things. And what I really love about them is they do like spirituality and they play in the woo, but they also are very normal people that are just like here to learn and inspire and walk the walk of being like just a normal person. But so I don't know if I'm like explaining this correctly, but like not diving so far deep into the woo. They're just being so authentically themselves at the end of the day is what I'm trying to get at. And so when I think about me and Bridget, we do not have that type of business model whatsoever, but we actually did a rebrand last year because we wanted to do it well. And so we renamed our course Pitch Party. We are just like fun people. We like to have a good time. We have a disco ball like video on our website. Like we are just doing PR totally different because we want to be ourselves and do it well. And I think if there isn't a brand that's doing it yet, even better, because you can be the one to start.
I love that. I don't have an answer.
You guys are fun.
Thanks.
I agree.
Thanks.
I think it's hard to always be authentic to yourself when you've seen other cookie cutter examples of ones that maybe have been successful and that's what you've been taught to be like. I mean, Parker and I have for a long time tried to stay authentic to who we are, but we kept it hidden for over 2 years because we were scared our full-time jobs wouldn't support us exploring our mindset or being vulnerable or talking about the struggles we were having in the workplace or speaking to high school kids. Now we were like, we're leaning in. We think this is so important, and they've been nothing but supportive. In fact, bringing us on board to help with things. So I think if anything out of that, there are a lot of brands that you can look up to. It doesn't mean you have to match them because at the end of the day, if you're authentic to who you are, you're going to succeed. And people respect and realize that authenticity. So I love that answer. Thank you both. My last rapid fire. Parker loves to spend money and add colors to his bookshelf. Do either of you have a book recommendation for Elevation Nation?
Yes, I have like 10, but my favorite is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Have you guys read it or heard of it? It's all about these small actions that compound over time, and that takes us in the direction of our dreams or away from our dreams, right? If we like forget to brush our teeth every single day, it's not that big deal, like just one day, but like 100 days of not doing that, you're in some trouble. So it's just a really relatable book, great for business mindset, great for, career mindset as well, great if you want to like get healthier or lose weight. It's just a good concept.
So I I read mostly like romance novels, which is the
Lydia, why don't you tell them about your romance novels?
I like to just detach when it's so funny. Podcasts are like my learning. So I'll listen to an audiobook, but when it comes to reading, I'm like, no, that's reserved for this. However, I do have a really good book that Bridget's heard me talk about 1,000 times. It is the Bible for me. So I think every single student, every single person that is under the age of 30, over the age of 32, but I think it's really critical under the age of 30 to read I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. It might be pronounced Sadie. Anyway, he is incredible. So he teaches you how to start putting money away, what to do when it comes to finances just in general. It's like it's honestly like a course in a $10 book. And I highly recommend it. It opened my eyes. It made me open my very first Roth IRA a few years ago. And it's a game changer. Yeah.
I am so surprised you said that book. You know what
Why?
I thought she was going to say, folks?
What?
Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Is that
feel like
a
it's a
romance
little
novel?
No.
I feel like it's a little too weird for these people, but since we mentioned it, I'll talk about
it's like it's Napoleon Hill who wrote Think and Grow Rich. I'm sure you guys know that book or read
okay.
it.
Got it.
But this
Yeah.
one's a good one.
I feel like he goes a little rogue, but it really is good. So he basically, the whole book is him interviewing the devil, like as if the devil is a person, which is, I know it sounds very obscure or very abstract, and it is. But the way that he talks about it is really almost in like a story sense of personifying the devil, or like how we can get pulled into negative patterns, whether it be smoking, whether it be watching too much television, whether it be not going for our dreams, and how to almost like pattern disrupt or like put ourselves in different situations to get to become the best version of ourselves. Like that book really blew my mind. I think actually the most mind-blowing piece was talking about how smoking can almost be like, the way he said it was totally different, but almost like a gateway drug to making us less motivated for life. And it was interesting. It was just, I feel like you just have to read it. I'm going to butcher it.
Okay. Love it.
So we'll just leave it there, everyone. Let me know what you think when you listen to the episode.
I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I don't know what Sam thinks about it. He's read it. I read it. I recommend it to so many people. I've bought it for so many people. I read that like literally on the flight down to Florida when COVID lockdown was happening, when I was going to my parents. Pretty good time, I think, to learn about finances. And it certainly, I look back, I'm like, thank God I read that. Great book. But the other two I'm down to check out. They sound great.
I think that you guys would really like Outwitting the Devil, to be honest, because I feel like you're just open to
the
lots
mindset
of different
piece you guys would like.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, Rami, like if you're listening to this, please just like have us be your influencers. I think I've made people buy that book so many times. I think I'm one of his like best salespeople. Just a plug for me.
I love that.
Time for your kickback.
Yeah.
I think you earned it.
Thanks.
So we got some book recs, which brings us to our final segment, our favorite segment. Everyone in Elevation Nation that joins the nation comes on the podcast, or that we speak to around the country. We all help them develop this one thing that we love. We call it your mental motto, which is a phrase that embodies who you are, how you live your life. We've talked already about this concept of mental fortitude, of knowing who you are, your vision of where you want to go, and what fuels you. And so it's always fun to hear our newest elevators tie that into a little phrase. So, Bridget, we're going to start with you. What is your mental motto?
So hard to choose. Okay, I'm going to change it up. I told you guys once in the beginning, and I'm going to take one word from yours. Mental endurance. So I'm a distance running athlete, and if there's one thing that has taught me, it is how every single thing that you do that you are consistent with over time will build you to where you want to go. And if you can just endure and stay resilient and just to stay, like, hold steady, a lot of good things will happen. So mental endurance.
Damn straight.
Mine's like more of a phrase, I guess, but speaking of, there's a book on this, but I can't remember who wrote it. But if the door isn't open, go through the window. I'm sure you've even heard that before, but I am such an opportunity person, almost probably to a fault, where I'm like, no, we're gonna get there and do this. But I think that's what makes so many beautiful opportunities happen in life. Sometimes we think we know what we want, and then we, go through the window and end up with something even better. And so I think when we are thinking about our dreams that are really big, just how can we get there in a roundabout way if it doesn't look like you can get there in the perfect way? Like, I encourage everybody, myself, to just be creative in that sense and find the window.
Damn, that was good.
Oh, thanks.
Love them. They're unique. They're special. They're certainly the epitome of mental fortitude. And guys, we've been talking for 50 minutes. It's been an incredible conversation. We've elevated each other while hopefully elevating the Elevation Nation. And I can't thank you guys enough for the time, but more importantly, can't thank you guys enough for all of the things that we'll be able to do together in the future. And Sam and I, when we get to meet with incredible young people and hear their stories and how they're helping others make their dreams come true, we're just even more inspired to make our own dreams come true. So thank you for that, because this has been a fun conversation, and elevating is just getting started.
We just love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love you guys. Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.